Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a while since I've stopped by and shown anything, so figured I'd do my vinyl tag 2020. I wish I could have done it, earlier this week, but some stuff came up once again. If you guys remember last year, had some dental work done, and once again, this time around I got some wisdom teeth removal surgery done. And it's been a week since I've had that procedure done last Friday, so just now kind of recovering out of it. I can't open my mouth all the way yet. Still eating some soft foods and still on medication for it, but all is well. I was kind of nervous going in there because I've never been taken under anesthesia before, and the outcome was pretty funny. But otherwise, kind of just readjusting back to normal, and it would also hurt when I would talk a lot, so I figured I might as well just wait till I'm ready to speak and stuff. So today's my best day as far as speaking, and very little pain, if any at all, nowadays, so, or at this point. So anyways, thought I'd share my vinyl tag 2020. I'm a little late to the party, but it don't matter, right? As long as you get it done within the month, I suppose. So I have it written down on Notepad when I could have just wrote it in my phone. Like a lot of things I write because I have a little notepad on my phone. I just type it all on there, but I went old school, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna go kind of based off this, and I'll try to move fairly quickly. We'll see what happens. So the best find of 2019 for me, I think I kind of define that as my best score, my best find, and I have to say it's probably The Smoke, self-titled. Found it for 15 bucks on Discogs for G+ rating, and it's actually a lot better than that grade. So plays very well, and this is quite the best find, I would say. I mean, I've had a lot of great finds last year, so 2020 gotta probably top it, right? Anyways, the favorite album of 2019, I kind of define that as something I really wanted, something I listened to a lot that I picked up last year, and just my favorite so far. And this is Les Irresistibles, the story of Baxter Williams. I mean, this whole album I love. It's kind of a concept record, sort of like Tommy and SF Sorrow, sort of. And this just never gets talked about, and I'm ashamed of that. I think it's incredible production sounds. It's a whole mixed bag of Baroque pop, and then they got some garage fuzz psych action going on. It's a mixed bag of material, and it's just top quality. If you guys like Bee Gees, from the 60s, mixed with, maybe the Pretty Things, I would say check it out. Novelty record, yeah, I didn't think too much on this one, but I think this kind of counts, right? Friar Tuck and his psychedelic guitar, kind of more of an exploitation novelty. He covers some songs from the era, like Sweet Pea and what was the other one? Alley Oop. Kind of a novelty record. That's my definition of it. So, and I know with this vinyl tag as well, I kind of show a lot of the same records. I don't have the hugest variety of genres. It's all kind of the same territory here, but sorry about that. And I've shown all these, in my last couple videos, with my psychedelic collection part 2. I've shown probably a lot of these as well, but this one I haven't showed in a while, and this is the next one is a homage cover. or homage to an artist. This is Jimi Hendrix, tribute to Jimi Hendrix, and the band is Jeff Cooper and the Stone Wings. It's also kind of like an exploitation sort of acid rock jam. They do cover some Jimi Hendrix songs, but they also kind of like do some tunes in their own style, but you know, kind of like songs that Jimmy might have wrote back in the day. So it's got some nice fuzz going on that record. Let's see, the B side, or deep cut. And I just decided to pick this one. This probably is the deep cut of the 45, but Peach Fuzz Forest by Crystal Garden. It's the rocker on this one, and then the A side is Flash. So it's a good tune. Something Funky. Of course, I had to pull this one. Don't have a whole lot of like funk records like I want, but this one is in the collection. A lot of wonky beats on this one and wonky songwriting, which makes it funky. So, Weird Shelf Buddies. So, you know, having a Psych collection, I mean, that's not very uncommon to find, you know, two records next to each other, but, you know, I was kind of looking at a different section of my shelves here and pulled out a Psych record, but also an ambient record, and I thought that kind of worked. So, two very different albums. Ambient by Brian Eno, Ambient 4, On Land. Incredible dark ambient stuff. Right next to the Rolling Stones Psych effort, their Satanic Majesty's Request. Don't really go together. I would not listen to those back to back, probably ever, if I was in that mood. Then the next one is I Was There, so it's someone that you've seen in concert, and I've seen Grand Funk Railroad live. Haven't really been to too many concerts in my life, but I saw a later version of this band. I saw, what's his name? Forget the guy's names already. It's not Mark Farner, but Don Brewer and Mel, the bass player. I saw both of them live, but Mark was not in the band at this point, and they actually played some songs off of this live album, so it's pretty cool to see. I think they played TNUC and Outside Looking In, or Inside Looking Out, so it's kind of cool to hear those jams live, and played pretty well. Next one is Wish I Had an OG copy, but have repress. I mean, there's several things in here that I would love to have originals of, but you know, if I had to think of something that was probably possible down the road maybe, but is still very hard to acquire, had to go with my all-time favorite Private Press, Justin O'Brien and Jake. It is replicated like the original, but I heard that the sound quality of the original is vastly better, and would just be very cool to own. You know, own your favorite Desert Island disc, you know. Discography you own. Now this one was kind of tough too, because I was trying to think of something unique, and you know, a lot of these bands just had one album, so I could have just showed like one album band. But kind of went down trying to think of a band that I do have a lot of. Not really a favorite band, but I'm just kind of acquiring them just because of they're also kind of like novelty items, and probably the creepiest band to exist in the world. But I just decided to pull the Lynx albums because I probably have the most of them in my collection. I do have most of their albums though. Yeah. I think I'm just missing one of the missing links. So this is probably the best one to my ears, but it's got some cool organ sounds, but the vocals are kind of creepy and just makes you wonder what's going on there, you know, behind the scenes with those kind of private labels. Anyways, next one is Unique Center Label. This was kind of tough too, you know. I kind of just thought of, you know, a favorite label of mine that has kind of a cool design as well. I wanted to show the flick disc, but I decided to go with Poppy Records. So here I got Mandrake Memorial, and I'll show the label here. It's kind of simple, but also stands out too. You see the label art better than the text on the label itself, actually. So, picture of a poppy. It's kind of interesting. I like it. I don't have any Vertigo swirls to share, so let's see. Pre-band. I had a few different choices on there as well, and every time I'd see a different album, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to use that. No, I'm going to use that one now." So I just decided on Hourglass, which involved both the Allman Brothers, Skydog and Greg. So it's kind of their take on. It's got kind of a rural psych pop flavor to it. A little bit of folk rock and blues mixed in, and definitely better than their first album. Let's see, musical book, movie. I went with Alice's Restaurant. I have the VHS copy. I first saw it on Netflix years ago, and I just happened to find this in a thrift store. So I haven't seen this in a while though. I don't remember it being a very good film, but you know, I guess they had to kind of cash in on the story, you know. Arlo Guthrie, so kind of a cool flick. Underrated album. Now, of course, everything I share is underrated in this channel, but I tried to find something that people know about, but at the same time, they could have like really achieved commercial success if, you know, perhaps the right label came along or something didn't really click very heavily with this band for some reason till, you know, years later, till the Nuggets compilation came out. And this also features someone that, you know, would later become more well known, and I'll just share it here. And I've listened to this recently. This is Nas, self-titled debut, and to me this is very underrated to this day. You know, it just seems to be remembered for oh yeah, that one song on that Nuggets comp, Open My Eyes. And that's all people know about Nas, it seems. Or people might be like, oh yeah, Todd Rundgren was in that group. And that's really all I know. But man, they were so much more than that. I mean, this is my favorite of theirs, but there's so many great tracks on this, and they range in a whole bunch of different styles, from like pre-power pop moves and you know, some garage elements, of course some psych flavor with a lot of phasing effects going on, hard rock, but it's also got some kind of like Baroque pop moments as well, with the early version of Hello It's Me and If That's the Way You Feel. My favorite is When I Get My Plane. It's totally British influenced, almost like, sounds like The Move, which was a big influence for this band. So to my eyes, I think this album still gets kind of overlooked and should be. I think it's should have really achieved better commercial success than it did. So I consider that underrated. And then the batting average. So consistently makes good albums. So, you know, try to think of, you know, maybe one. I don't have all their albums, but try to think of some band. And I thought of Jefferson Airplane. I think, for the most part, you know, they had a pretty solid debut album, and then they come out with this, you know, era-changing follow-up, Surrealistic Pillow, and you know, then they have like After Bathing at Baxter's, Crown of Creation, Fallen Tears, Bark. Their every single studio album seemed to work pretty well, even when we were kind of moving out of the psychedelic 60s, you know, before they turned into Jefferson Starship. I thought the Airplane had some consistent albums. I mean, they might have had a clinker or two within the album, but they were all consistently pretty solid in my perspective. So, okay, let's flip this over. Same album, different cover. I didn't have much for this one, but I did think of one, and I have the alternate cover to Second Time Around by the Dean Davis Company. And there's an alternate cover where it shows the band playing like in a field or something, and it has like kids on tricycles. And I think this is maybe a more uncommon alternate cover where it's just the titles. So yeah, it kind of looks like that cover almost, but it's like they're out in a field or something. So it's kind of the one I thought of. Album bought cheap, now worth money. This was also kind of tough because I was trying to think of something that I bought maybe a few years ago that was cheap overall at the time, but now it's gotten increasingly, you know, valuable. And I don't know, I bought this for its retail value, but nowadays it is kind of sought after, if I remember correctly. Last copy I saw for sale was like $70, and I bought this for like $25 brand new. But it's kind of a limited record store day release, and it's the music from Adventures of Pete and Pete soundtrack by Polaris. It's kind of sought after, and I'm so happy I got this when I did too, because it's one of my favorite soundtracks. Incredible, like jangle pop, alternate jangle pop music, and also featured Iggy Pop on the TV show back in the day. So I didn't grow up with this show, but I do remember it being on like reruns in the late 90s. So it was a TV show on Nickelodeon. It was one of the best TV soundtracks. It was awesome. Favorite drummer? This is also very tough for me. I mean, I love a lot of different drummers, but the one I always think of, I kind of always go back to my roots, you know, and try to think who's my favorite drummer back in the day, you know, and this guy probably still stands as one of my favorites and kind of gets overlooked as far as like some of the top drummers. I decided to pick Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. Used to love the hell out of his drumming on Paranoid album. You know, I thought he was very, very tight drummer, and you can hear it on tracks like Rat Salad. And yeah, this was one of my more favorite drummers. So, and you know, as I'm recording this too, I just learned that Neil Peart from Rush passed away. So I'm sure, you know, a lot of fans are, you know, sharing their records and stuff now. And so I don't have any Rush, so, but I give my condolences to Mr. Neil Peart. He is one of the more well-known rock musicians, rock drummers. So, turning 20 in 2020. I actually have an album from 2000. You guessed it. I have Godspeed You Black Emperor, Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven, and yeah, the only 2000 album I have, I believe. So, trilogy of albums, so 3 solid albums back to back from same artist. I'm missing one of the 3 of the trilogy, what I consider the trilogy, on Mainstream Records, and I decided to pick the Amboy Dukes. Journey to the Center of the Mind. I don't have their debut album yet, so this is one of the very first albums I picked up online, and just gave this a spin today. And then probably my favorite of theirs, Migration. I think it's their strongest one. And after this one, you know, once they're off the Mainstream label, I think Nugent was kind of like you know, we all know Ted Nugent, and he probably just kind of, you know, took more control of the band and made it more of like more about him than anybody else. So yeah, that does it for the vinyl tags. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I don't know, I don't think I read it on the vinyl tag video, but I think I'm supposed to give some shout outs or not. I'd rather not do shout outs right now, but yeah, if I don't have to, I probably won't. So, um, you know, because a lot of people, I just have my circle of people I watch, you know, and so I feel like they probably had their names mentioned enough, you know, at this point. So they all got fans watching them. So I'll just I might give shout outs in my next video. Um, I didn't know if that was a requirement or not. I must have missed that part, but I know people did some shout outs in their vinyl tag video. Anyways, I'll be coming back shortly, hopefully. I do have 2 new records to share, but I do also have a couple others coming in the mail as well. So I'll probably share all 4 of those, plus that book I've been talking about. And also, really happy to announce this as well. I'm actually getting my Grail that I've been wanting for the 2 years that I've known this album. I'm actually getting a original copy that would have never expected in my lifetime, considering how scarce this is, and it may actually be the most rarest vinyl record I own at this point. So once I acquire it, so I think I'm almost finished paying for it, so I will be receiving that sometime soon, and I can't wait to share it. If you guys remember, a while back I actually mentioned my Grail, probably a year ago or so, and if you guys remember it, good job. I'll be sharing it soon, so I don't want to give any spoilers. So take care, hope you guys enjoyed, and we shall see you soon. And I'm gonna, you know, finishing up, recovering a little bit, so sorry if I sound like I'm struggling to talk, but actually doing pretty good right now. So just kind of rest up with this wisdom teeth. Who would have thought teeth make you feel this way? So take care, and we'll catch you soon.